Hi, my name is Wayne Hartmann, and I'm the coach advocate at NXT-9. And in the next 17 minutes or so, I'm going to be sharing with you why you, as the CEO of a business that's scaling, and your team should be using the NXT-9 X-ray. Basically, I'm going to share with you why you should be using it to work out where you should be focusing your business building efforts next. So you're the CEO or founder of a small business that's scaling, and if you are like the CEOs that I work with, then probably you're a bit stressed, you're a bit short of time, you're a bit short of money, and you're probably wondering what you got yourself into, and you're probably wondering what you do next. This NXT-9 X-ray is there to help you work out what to do next. You and your team need to be focused on the most important priorities of business building. Any focus on anything other than that is probably not going to get you to where you need to get to. So this X-ray is there to help you focus on what you should be doing next. What are the most important levers you should be pulling for you and your team? And that's what the X-ray is about. So what I'm going to do is just show you around the X-ray to give you a feel for what it's about, so you can work out if this thing might help you or not. So essentially, you take a 2-hour survey. It's an online survey. Either the administrator or a coach, if you have one, sends you a link, and you as the CEO answer a few questions about the complexity of your business and the complexity of the industry you're in. And that allows us to determine this little piece over here. What is the required score? How important is it that each of these different business disciplines are at a certain level? And these 8 business disciplines are the key 8 business disciplines that you need to scale a business. It's strategy, it's execution, it's people, it's board and advisors, sales and marketing, operations, finance, and capital. You need to know all of those if you're actually going to be scaling your business as well as you can. So as I said, the first set of questions is about complexity. We set the level that you should be at. Ask you a few questions that give us a gut feel score for you. That's the purple piece. And then at that stage, before you jump into the detailed stuff, you get asked who should be doing the survey. In your team, you really want the people in your team who know your business sort of end to end. Those are the people you want to do the exercise. And typically, it's you as the CEO, there's the COO if you have one, product and technology if they're there, sales and marketing, operations, finance, and the people side of the business. Quite often, businesses don't have experts in all of those roles, so use your judgment about who knows the business well enough to answer the different sections. When you put the people's names and email addresses in, it's going to ask you what roles they're in, and it's going to pre-populate what questions they should be asking. You can make adjustments to that. Then they get sent the link, and off you go to the races. As I said, it takes about 2 hours to do the survey. It's going to ask you questions at a discipline, a sub-discipline, sub-sub-discipline, and a practice level. And at each of these levels, you get asked to work out where you are on a scale of 1 to 5, or you get asked some specific questions, whether they exist or not. And that then allows us to work out where you are on that 1 to 5 scale for the practices. And an algorithm then just sums it all up and works out where your priority gaps lie versus where you should be. And as a result of that, makes a set of recommendations about what you should do about it. And those recommendations are in each of the different disciplines, but also overall. Typically 5 per discipline and 10 overall. And what you get then is you get a business maturity index. In this case, it's 36%. And that's a little bit less than the average that I see. I normally see businesses in the 40 to 50 kind of range, maybe with a low end of about 20 when you're starting to scale, and up around about the 70 mark if you're really, really good at what you're doing. And that's the typical range I've seen, and we've done a few hundred of these X-rays already. So we've got a little bit of a track record in the bag there. So now you've done the X-ray. Your administrator or your coach, if you don't have a business coach who's administering this X-ray for you, someone at NXT-9 will be the nominated coach in inverted commas or administrator, they will have a look at the survey, make sure it's neat and tidy, and they'll grant you access. This view that we're looking at the moment is actually the coach's view rather than your view, but yours will be very, very similar. In any case, then, when you get the x-ray, and now you want to have a look at it, it's a good idea to do a debrief with a coach. And you will have gathered by now that I believe that a coach to accompany you on this journey of scaling your business is a good thing. There are times when you as the CEO need a bit of wise advice and a sounded board at the very least. In any case, so now you can see where your business maturity index is. You can actually, the first place to go and have a look is what's going on with the team divergence. And you can have a look down here at the bottom. Let's just go there quickly. And you'll be able to see both at a discipline level and overall just where the divergence actually sits in your team, and your coach or administrator would have had the ability to tune out any elements of team divergence. But it's useful for you to know whether there is divergence in your team's views of where you are or not. Usually teams that talk a lot about where they are strategically with their business building are fairly closely aligned. And if there's not much discussion going on, well, then it's reasonable to expect that people will have different views. Then you can go and have a look at your results. And again, you can look at it as we are here by discipline level, or you can go into a particular discipline and you'll be able to then see the results within that discipline. And of course, you can also then see the spider graph and the score for each of those sections too. But I typically, when I first go and have a look at it, I start at the top level. I just look overall. So now we can see, strategy is pretty low. You should have been at a 4. You think you're at 4.2, but you're actually at 0. Why is that? So now you can dig into it. And that's the value of the X-ray as well. Very quickly, you can work out just where the gaps actually lie and where you should be focusing your efforts. So if we have a look here, that 0 is coming from competitive strategy because the algorithm uses a lowest common denominator kind of approach for strategy. So competitive strategy is 0. That's where the problem lies. You've got no defendable advantage. And you can see within the different practices within defendable advantage where some of the gaps lie as well. So that very quickly then lets you go and have a look at where the gaps lie. Then you can do the same thing for execution. You can go and work out, you can see rhythms look like they're pretty low in this case. So that would be an obvious area to focus on the people side. 2, okay, it looks like culture and recruiting are the weakest links there. And what we're doing at the moment is just getting a feel for where we lie. Board and advisors. So where do you go when you don't know what to do? In this case, there isn't a board. So compensating through the use of outside experts, that's okay. Sometimes a board's not necessary until a certain stage of the life cycle of a business. But a good board is a real competitive advantage too. Sales and marketing. Okay, marketing looks like it's the weaker one here. It looks like they're all reasonably weak, but leadership is the weakest one of all. On the sales side, okay. Looks like the team itself is the weak link there. Okay. We're going to have a look at operations. Okay. And this is quite a common situation, I find. Often there's not much training going on, and there isn't a culture of continuous improvement. With operations, you just got to keep working on your weakest link and just keep improving it, and eventually it gets to be pretty good. But operations isn't in too bad a shape. My gut feel usually is if you're 2.5 and above for any of these areas, you'll get by. Finance at 1.4 is a little bit on the low side. Goodness me, governance and culture is pretty low over there. There's no board oversight because there's no board. That's fair enough. Strategic planning, not much going on over there. And strategic execution is pretty low as well. Looks like we haven't established the priorities and targets. Okay, so you can see from this where the weakest links around each of the different areas lie. And then on the capital side, okay, all pretty reasonable here. These are pretty decent. Clearly, this business has been on the fundraising path probably in the recent past, so they're pretty tidy. So now, as we've seen, where the weakest links are. And what we're trying to do here is you and probably your coach who's working with you, you're trying to work out where are we going to go and focus our efforts. And that's where the recommendation section comes in handy. It basically lifts out the top 10 for you. This is where the X-ray believes you should focus your energy. If your coach has moderated this before you've seen it, there may have been a few tweaks. In this case, I've made a few tweaks to it. So you can see over here for the top one, the most important one, and that's all the crises ones go to the top. If there's a crisis that's brewing, it'll go straight to the top. Yeah, in a circle dynamic, if the top team isn't getting on well together, there could be an issue. Ditto if there's a liquidity crisis or a market crisis or the like. So we can see here that 83% of the participants said there's an inner circle dynamic issue and something should be done about that. You can look at the recommendations. This is what you should actually go and do about it. Get stuck in straight away to fix it up. I added a comment. Yeah, it looks to me like this business actually needs to go and work on their culture process, and perhaps a culture workshop's needed. And so that's probably the number one priority for them. Then you can see over here the 4 strategy elements. Quite often strategy comes up. If your strategy isn't really tight, quite often your strategic planning that comes afterwards and your org design, a whole lot of things depend on strategy. And if your strategy is not tight, the rest gets a bit fuzzy as well. So that's usually why these strategic elements end up in the top 10 as well. So there are a bunch of strategy ones. There are 3 on execution. So once we've got a strategy, we've got to turn that into an action plan. Usually starts out with a big, hairy, audacious goal and a set of strategic objectives that underpin it, an execution blueprint in our terminology, and the wildly important goals. Then you need some kind of scorecard to make sure you know where you are, whether you're on track or not. There's some financial policy stuff here, and then there's a leadership culture and style, the recommendation as well. So that's the top 10 for this business. For your business, it might be a different top 10 depending on where you are in building your business. So that algorithm basically looks at where you are, where your gaps are, versus where you should be in each of these, and they aren't equally important. There's a weighting that's in there, and then the algorithm works out this is where you should focus, and then your coach has the opportunity to fine tune that based on what he or she knows about your business as well. So now you've got a set of recommendations that you can go and work on. And this brings a lot of calm. As soon as I found when I was in leadership positions that as soon as I had confirmation that I was probably working on the right things and I had a plan, a sense of calm arrived, because then I could actually just work through it using project management principles. I could just systematically work through it. And that's what this is intended to do here. You and your coach work out very quickly. This is where we should focus our energies. You go to work on them. You improve them, and what happens then is you'll find your BMI index increases, and what that translates into, then your business results will get better. You will find that as you build your business, your ability to deliver on the results that you've been promising to your investors, perhaps around capital raises and the like, you start getting more effective at making that happen. And things just have a way of going in the right direction as soon as you are building the right parts of your business at the right time. And again, it's worth reminding you that you've got levers to pull. Yeah, there are lots of different levers you can pull. The question is, which ones do you pull and when do you pull them? This is what the X-ray is meant to do. It guides you as to which ones you should be pulling now. Early in 2023, we're building in the capacity and the capability to be able to update on an ongoing basis. So, for example, if you've done something about this inner circle dynamic and you carried out the recommendation there, you'll be able to click on a link. It'll update it. It'll be confirmation from the CEO that it's been done. And boom, your BMI is going to improve and a new top 10 will then emerge. So this is a tool that you can use on an ongoing basis to work on your business building activities. Right now, you can do the survey as often as you like, but obviously there's a more optimal way to manage on an ongoing basis. So perhaps you've now got the recommendations, and now you're not too clear on just what it means. You don't have enough knowledge on how to apply it, and perhaps you don't have a coach. You can go here and make use of the Academy section. This is a very useful part of the X-ray. There are a whole lot of courses and resources in here. Mostly, these are boot camps that have come out of the 10xe world. We work with accelerators and run 2-year programs for a bunch of corporates who fund SME development. And these are the digital versions of those boot camps. This Path to Scale boot camp is really, very good. It's a 3-day face-to-face boot camp that's been turned into a digital version over here, and it basically covers what you're going to encounter on your journey as you scale your business. So very good as a base loading for a team who perhaps don't have the knowledge about what to expect. It's one on strategy, one on execution. We talked about culture just now. There's a marketing one. The A game one is really about making sure that you are as good as you can be. And there are 2 more here, one on talent and one on scaling the Google way using OKRs. And we're busy digitizing some other ones that are coming along as well. So in time, this section on courses will grow. And then there are a bunch of resources that you can go and have a look at as well. There are about 200 odd of them at the moment, and you can go and search the resources. Let's have a look at culture over here. Okay, so there are 8 different resources on culture now. You can go and have a look at it. Perhaps you want to work out how to build your culture. You can go and click on that one and do some work there. There are also reading lists and nano books in the resources section. So if you wanted to read up on a particular topic, you can find out what books to go and read. And if you don't have the time to read them right now, you might go to a nano book that'll give you a summarized version of what it's about. So the Academy section, very useful for you to work out how to close some knowledge gaps that you might have. So that's really what the X-ray is about. Gives you a very direct way and a very quick way and an accurate way to work out what it is that you and your team should be focusing on from a business building perspective. Basically saves you a bunch of time so you don't iterate around a trial and error method of working out where to go and work. It saves you money. Usually you're on a tight budget. Usually you're short of money, and time is money. So getting the answers very quickly around what to work on is valuable to you. So that is what the NXT-9 X-ray is about. I hope you found that useful. Well, thank you for watching the video. And if after watching the video you think this X-ray might be of use to you, then you can either get hold of me via the website, details below, or perhaps book a time to have a chat or a follow-up demo with me. Contact details on the screen as you see, and there'll also be a link to click at the end of the video. Thanks again.